Hello and a very warm welcome back to the garden. Today I'm just gradually getting the garden more ready and prepared for springtime, and I'm going to be giving you my top tips for creating a really effective planting plan that not only brings you lots of productivity in terms of food from your growing space, but also a lot of satisfaction and enjoyment as well in 2021. Today's a very exciting day for me because my second online course called The Productive Planting Plan is launching, and it's a complete guide. It's 10 lessons to show you how to go from a blank piece of paper to a fully developed monthly, not an annual, but monthly planting plan for your vegetable garden, and you can do it in under a day. So if you want to find out the method that I use to plan for abundance and a lot of fun, using a month-by-month basis that has so many benefits, then head over to planforabundance.com and use the exclusive coupon code found only on this video called YouTube20 to get 20% off. Before you go about creating your plan, there's actually one really crucial job that you need to do, which will give you complete direction in terms of where your plan is going to go, because it's all too easy to fall back into old habits. And the one thing you want to do is to outline the top 3 goals that you want to get from your growing space this year. What you want to do is to get a bit of paper and write down the top 3 goals that you want to achieve from your growing season in 2021. And then as you're planning out your garden, keep that bit of paper in front of you to serve as a reminder and to give you a clear direction in terms of where you want the plan to take you. So you make sure that you're growing things that are going to help you achieve those 3 goals, and also to perhaps miss out on growing particular things that might actually hold you back, or growing in particular ways that might prevent you from reaching the goals that you've set yourself. Now I have 3 gardening goals. The first one is to try and grow as many new varieties as possible this year, with a particular emphasis on heritage varieties. The second goal is I want to have also a bigger focus on growing beneficial flowers in and around the garden. And my third goal is to actually learn more about perennial vegetables. To celebrate the launch of the Productive Planting Plan course today, I'm going to give 3 of you free access to my first online course called More Food, Less Effort. And all you need to do to enter, it's worldwide of course because it's an online course, all you need to do to enter is to go down in the comments box and write your 3 gardening goals that you have for this year. And you have 3 days from this video coming out to enter. The second tip, which is what the online course goes into a lot of detail, is to scrap doing a single page annual plan and instead do a monthly plan, so a month per page, because it gives you a lot more clarity on the changes that gradually happen throughout the season, and it means you don't miss out on anything important. For example, if a gap emerges, you can make sure that you can start off some seeds under cover a month or 2 months before to put straight out. For example, when the potatoes were harvested, I had these leeks ready to go. When you're filling up an empty garden plan, it's really easy to fill it with loads of different crops. But the third tip is to actually leave some unplanned space on purpose, because you never know what's going to happen. Perhaps your friend gives you a really interesting variety of seeds to try out. Perhaps you have some extra seedlings that you want to grow but there's no space for them. Or perhaps you've had a change of plan and want to try something different. So just make sure you leave a little corner or section on your plan that isn't actually planned to give you a bit of freedom in case you need it. The next tip comes from Liz Zorab, where she shares her clever trick to go around and do something called intentional observation, but there's so much more to that. So I'm going to let her briefly explain what that is and then give you an example of how I do it.
So I start this planning process with some really intentional observations, really careful looking and making notes of what's going on in each bed and how things have grown this year. Now I don't use a pen and paper for this process. I use my phone and I record onto my phone. So I walk through the garden dictating notes effectively onto my phone, and then I can get inside, listen back through to that, and it's got all the thoughts and all the comments that I have about each bed and each part of the garden, and I find that much easier than walking around with pen and paper trying to make notes and then not being able to read my scribbly writing. I've got all my thoughts as I walk around.
This was the main 2020 squash and cucurbit bed. It went well. We had way too many courgettes, and I used the landscape fabric method of burning holes, which I've done for the last 2 or 3 years. But what I found, especially just looking at it and backed up by the drone shots, was that there's a lot of empty space in between. So what I think I'll do is I might use this bed again for squash, but I won't use the landscape fabric, and instead let the plants develop, start off a load of beneficial flowers in the polytunnel, and then once they've grown a little bit, put out the flowers in any of the natural gaps that happen, because you can't really predict which ways squash like to grow. Something that relates to Liz's intentional observation tip is, as you're maybe halfway through creating your planting plan, or you've got your ideas down and then need to refine them, come back up to the garden with a copy of your plan and then reference it. So you're not only looking back at what happened last year, you're actually going to now start visualizing about how your plan will turn out this year, because it's a really powerful thing to visualize, and you might remember something that you might have forgotten. For example, I had the potatoes in this bed and they had blight last year, and I put them down here in the same bed, so I shouldn't put them there again. Or perhaps the A-frame of runner beans is on the wrong side of the bed, because then it will be casting shade on the other side because of the sun's direction. Or even something like, I've got too many low growing crops, I want to split it up and put a wigwam right here so there's a different look and feel to the garden. So it's really important to come back up with a copy of your plan and just visualize how it's going to look, to help solidify your ideas and also your goals. This tip is less about productivity and more about security, and I think just as important. Now, wouldn't it be awful if you created a beautiful hand-drawn planting plan and then you lost it, or at least lost a couple of months? Or perhaps you did it on your computer, but then your computer crashed and you lost all of your files. Well, something that you need to do is to create a digital copy of your planting plan and put it in some cloud storage, for example, Google Drive. Because if anything else were to happen, you can still access your planting plan on any other phone or computer. And there's a 99.9% chance that you won't lose it, but if it does happen, you'll be really pleased to know that you actually do have a backup. And it's just a small thing, but it's so easy to forget. Before I go over a few helpful bonus tips, one thing that you want to do, so this is my master template for filling in for this garden here, and yes, those are 6 new beds going in and the 3 old beds are coming out. You actually want to dedicate a section of your plan to create a box, and in that box you can highlight the key tasks that you have that month, perhaps like the top 5, 6, 7 planting tasks that you have that month. Because what it means is, as you're looking through the month, you can have a quick glance and think, oh, this is when I will start harvesting my early potatoes. Now, it's just going to act as an approximate, but that's going to be really helpful. Now, a really quick bonus tip as I'm here is, you'll notice that this is laminated. And the reason why is, well, for this, it's just to keep. It's a lot harder to lose a laminated bit of paper than just a normal bit of paper. But once you've created your plan, you may want to consider making smaller copies and laminating them, so you can then take them up with you to the garden. And it doesn't matter if you're wearing dirty gloves or if it's raining, your plan is protected, and you can just keep it in your polytunnel or in your shed, so you always have the plan easy to reference and you don't have to worry about taking off your gloves, and you can take it around the garden with you. If in previous growing seasons you found it hard to dedicate time at the start of the season, for example February, March, April, to the garden, then now's the perfect time to start crossing off your days on the calendar to make sure that no clashes happen. So you make sure that you do have some set days that are dedicated just for the garden. I hope that you found this video useful, and I wish you the best of luck with your planting plan, and don't forget to check out my online course, The Productive Planting Plan, and make the most of the coupon, and also to let me know your 3 gardening goals for a chance to win free access to my first online course, More Food, Less Effort. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Goodbye.